There is someone in your life whose face just came to mind. Someone you love, someone you may have hurt, someone you are no longer sure still trusts you. And that is exactly where Ray Ferrier begins in War of the Worlds. Divorced, estranged from his teenage son, and suddenly responsible for a frightened little girl who still calls him Dad and looks to him for safety. Then giant alien machines rise from beneath the street and start vaporizing the neighborhood. But beneath the invasion, this film asks one of the hardest questions a person can face. When you feel you have failed someone you love, what can you still do today? This is not really about aliens. It's truly about you. Stay with me.
When you feel you have failed someone you love, what can you still do today? You can start with one small step.
I'm Jay Lee, and this is Deeper into Film, where movies help us understand the lives we are actually living, our regrets, our relationships, fears, and hopes. If that is the conversation you need, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Full spoiler warning. We are going all the way into the film War of the Worlds. Because beneath the explosions, Spielberg gives us a damaged father learning something many of us learn too late. Love cannot remain only a feeling inside your head. It has to become something another person can actually feel. Ray Ferrier, played by Tom Cruise, is a divorced dock worker whose children arrive for the weekend. His teenage son Robbie is angry and wants almost nothing to do with him. His young daughter Rachel is frightened, but she still looks to her father for safety. The very thing Ray has spent too little of his life how to give. Then alien tripods rise from the streets, cities collapse, and Ray has one job: get both children back to their mother in Boston alive. The real suspense is not whether Ray can outrun the aliens. It is whether he can become the father his children need before the distance between them becomes permanent. And that question belongs to far more people than Ray Ferrier, right? When we hurt someone we love, we want a reset button. We want them to remember how exhausted we were, how much pressure we were carrying, how little anyone understood us. Or we swing to the other extreme. I ruined everything. There's no point now. But neither response repairs anything. Here is the distinction that changes everything. Guilt says, I feel terrible. Repair says, I see that I hurt you, and I want to understand what that was like for you. Guilt is about your pain. Repair turns toward theirs. And that is where love begins to move again. Not by pretending the wound is gone, but by refusing to look away from it. Rachel asks Ray questions he cannot answer. Are they coming? Will they find us? Are we gonna die? He has no speech. He has no plan. He cannot step the tripods, and he cannot make her fear disappear. But he does something that matters more than any answer. He stays. He holds her. He carries her when she cannot walk. And that may be the single most useful lesson in this film. People do not always need their perfect answer. They need to know you are not going to disappear. Someone you love may be grieving right now, depressed, sick, overwhelmed, or quietly falling apart a way you cannot fix. You may feel helpless because you have no solution. But I do not know how to fix this, and I am still here, can reach a person in a way that the smartest advice cannot. Try this. Ask anyone you love, how are you really? Then do something rare. Stay quite long enough to hear the actual answer. But now comes the harder part, because not everyone can be held the way Rachel can be held. Robbie cannot be carried. He is older, angrier, and determined to make his own choices. Ray loves him, but he cannot make him listen. And that is one of the deepest aches in adult life. We can love a grown child and cannot make them call. You can love a spouse and not make them stay. You can love someone with your whole heart and still watch them move far away. Christianity calls this kind of love grace, recognizing another person's dignity even when they reject you or refuse to become who you need them to be. Buddhism calls it metta-loving kindness, extending genuine compassion toward another person without demanding anything in return. Neither one means accepting cruelty or abandoning boundaries. Both say this: You cannot love someone into returning to you, but you can choose not to let fear turn your love into control. Yeah. When we feel powerless, fear often turns into anger. We lecture, we demand, we ask, what is wrong with you? When what we really mean is, I am terrified of losing you. Before your next difficult conversation, ask yourself one honest question. Underneath my anger, what am I truly afraid of losing? Maybe you are furious because your daughter never calls, but underneath that anger is grief because you miss her. Right? Yes. Maybe your spouse's silence drives you to edge, but underneath it is fear that you're becoming invisible to the person you once trusted most. Why do you never call me? Closes a door. I miss you, and I'm afraid of losing you. May you open one. It is not magic, but it is honest. And honesty is where real contact begins. Repair almost never begins with a grand gesture. It begins with something embarrassingly small. Just a text, a phone call, I've been thinking about you, or I think I hurt you, and I want to understand how. Do not say those things to demand forgiveness. Do not say them so that the other person will comfort you. Say them because they are true, then let them respond in their own time. Ray cannot restore the lost years with Robbie, but he can keep showing up. And in real life, consistency is often a more convincing apology than any explanation. Call when you say you will call. Listen without immediately defending yourself. Become someone whose presence feels a little safer than it used to. That is not a dramatic transformation. It's a daily decision, and it is available to you today. One thing must be said clearly. Staying does not mean remaining in every relationship regardless of what it costs you. Some relationships need distance. Some need firm boundaries. Some need counseling. Some are genuinely unsafe, and leaving is not failure. It is wisdom. Love is not self-destruction. But there is a difference between protecting yourself from harm and protecting yourself from vulnerability. The first may be necessary. The second, practiced over years, can quietly make your entire life smaller. So the question is not, can I fix everything? The question is, what is the most honest, healthiest form of love I can offer right now? Sometimes that is an apology. Sometimes it is a boundary. Sometimes it is a quiet conversation. Sometimes it is letting someone go without hatred. Spielberg refuses to give Ray an easy fantasy. He does not get his old family back. The divorce is still real. The lost years are still lost. But Ray has become a man who does not disappear when love becomes painful. He carries Rachel through her terror. He refuses to stop caring for Robbie even when furious at him. He keeps moving through exhaustion, guilt, and shame. That is not a perfect father. No, that is a father becoming present. Yes. And presence, imperfect, tired, still choosing to show up, is not the whole repair. But it is often where repair begins. You may not be able to become the person you should have been 10 years ago, but you can be more present today than you were yesterday. The past may explain how something broke. It does not get to write the final sentence. War of the Worlds is not really about aliens. It is about a damaged man who stops running from his own failure and begins moving, imperfectly, exhausted, but still moving toward the people he loves. Maybe your situation looks nothing like Ray's. Maybe the person who came to your mind at the beginning of the video is not family at all, but almost all of us know someone whose name quietly surfaces when we hear the words, I should have shown up better. So here's my final question. What is your small, honest step you could take this week toward that person? Not a perfect speech, not a grand gesture, just one step. Write your answer in the comments or simply sit with it tonight. If this kind of conversation is what you're looking for, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a film that might help you see your own life a little more clearly. I'm Jay Lee, and this is Deeper into Film. Thank you for watching.